not all propaganda is bad propaganda. You hear propaganda and you clutch your pearls. You get a little weary of propaganda. Like, I don't like propaganda. Not all propaganda is bad propaganda. Okay, propaganda that tells you do not smoke, that's some good propaganda. Propaganda that tells you, hey man, maybe you should wear a seatbelt. That's some good propaganda. By the way, when I'm talking about smoke, I'm definitely talking about cigarettes. Okay, I'm definitely talking about cigarettes. Not judging nobody. I'm just, cigarettes. Okay, the weed discussion gets a little ridiculous. Like that propaganda was pretty wild. That was some pretty bad propaganda. You guys remember that? Like, if you smoke, you die. Like, those are some crazy commercials, bro. I remember seeing those as a kid. It was like, yeah, you smoke a little weed, you're gonna die, bro. You're gonna become a crack addict. Like, it was some crazy stuff. Anyways, there is good propaganda out there. Klan is pro weed. Yeah. I don't care about that. Cigarettes, however, I didn't like cigarettes propaganda, so I'm gonna reverse that and say it's good propaganda for people to say don't smoke cigarettes. I just be honest. Anyways, with that being said, Jeremy Sochan is good propaganda, okay? He's like weed. So here is another stat. Now, we looked at another one, which I can't believe some people were really upset. It was like a Luka Doncic stat, and it was top 15 defenders against Luka Doncic. They were like, you're nitpicking this. It's like, what are you talking about? Jeremy Sochan keeps showing up on these lists. I'm going to talk about it. That's not nitpicking. Or like, not nitpicking, I'm sorry, cherry picking. That is not cherry picking, okay? So shout out to NBA University here. And this is quite impressive. Actually, you know what? I'm not gonna spoil it. You guys are very smart. My audience is very smart, okay? You guys have big IQs. I want you to take a look at this. And chat, I want you to tell me what stands out to you, okay? So once again, I probably didn't even say it. This is top 15 defenders who faced Anthony Edwards. What stands out to you? What's quite impressive that's better than everybody else's? Do. Why you guys answer that? Did you watch the new episode of Peacemaker that dropped? Season 2 looks like it's going to be fun. I have never even watched Peacemaker. Should I watch it? Maybe I should watch it. Maybe I should see Peacemaker because John Cena is pretty entertaining, right? John Cena is pretty entertaining. Hello, Tavarius. How are you doing? Okay, I'm sure that's enough time, at least for people who see the YouTube video, to leave a comment, okay? And chat, you guys can answer later. I think there's actually a delay between me and chat. With that being said, the one thing that I noticed that stood out to me was this category right here, turnovers. My goodness. So 99 possessions, Jeremy Sochan forced 5.3 turnovers on Anthony Edwards. Far ahead than anybody else, all of his other peers, okay? Also forced 48%, which is not great, but with the 5 turnovers, it kind of evened itself out, right? And then if you compare him to everyone else, yeah, he did phenomenally well, like ridiculously well. So it's kind of crazy to me that yet and still people do not give Sochan enough credit. Now, I've seen people say, well, Clan, Jeremy Sochan really needs to step up, right? He really needs to step up when it comes to shooting. I completely agree with that, right? But what I don't like is when people start to say he's just an average player, because I don't think that Sochan is just average. I don't think a player can. Maybe you guys can give me an example. Well, one comes to mind, but I don't know. Would you guys consider him average? But like, I don't think you can be elite on the defensive end and be considered an average player. Like, I don't think you can be one of the best defenders in the NBA, but then just be an average player. Like, by definition, that's not average. Stop it. He's average. Well, let me ask you a question. Would you say, like, and he's way better offensively than this player, so this shouldn't even be like a comparison, but would you say that Tony Allen was an average player? Maybe. I mean, he was really poor offensively, but phenomenal defensively, and everybody recognized how great he was on the defensive end, how much of a disruptor and headache he was on the defensive end. So, like, that player, I don't know how many people at that time would have just been like, especially in his prime, would have been like, yeah, he's just average. Like a lot of people liked how good yeah, exactly. Like how is he average? Yeah, mid. Okay. How is Jeremy Sochan average? If he's elite defensively, which is objectively correct. If you compare him to his peers, he's elite defensively. And then offensively, I would say he's good for like a role player. I think he's good. He finished around the rim pretty well. He's great on the pick and roll, one of the best players in the NBA, like top 3 in the pick and roll action, finishing. I don't see how that makes you average. I don't see how that evens out. If you say that he's average offensively and he's elite defensively, then what is he? It's 2 ends of the court here. What are you? If you're average on one end and elite on the other, what are you? Just like simple math to tell you that he's at least good, right? So, I don't know. I think people just throw that out just willy-nilly. Just say, no, he's not that good. He's mid. Without any actual backing of it, or will completely ignore everything that points towards him being that great. When team prepares for the Spurs, where does he fall? What do you mean when teams prepare for the Spurs? They have to keep an eye out on Sochan. They will try their best to get him switched off of the best player. What do you even mean? Yeah, that's what they're going to be looking for. They don't want to be matched up against Jeremy Sochan. They're going to try their best to get him off. They don't want to be guarded by him. Also, Jeremy Sochan isn't a superstar. He's not like a star player, right? He's not. He's a role player. But in that case, then you would just say every role player is just average? So what does that statement even mean? Well, what he's trying to say is that he's just not that important. Like teams go into games and don't even think about him, which I don't see how you can look at the stat. Like I don't see how star players can look at their stats when they go against Jeremy Sochan and not think about him when they're on the court or not prepare for it. Like that's crazy. Yeah, exactly. Guarantee other teams are saying keep Sochan out of the paint on both ends. Exactly. He's a great cutter. They're they discuss backdoor cuts, screens, all that. Not everybody has to be on the court shooting like Steph Curry to be effective, okay? And my question to you, and just people that think this way, do you think Steph Castle? Like, do you think teams go into games and think about Steph Castle? What do teams prepare for Steph? And if you say yes, then I completely don't. If you say no for Sochan and yes for Castle, I completely don't understand your argument. Nope. Okay, so Castle isn't good either. So Castle's mid, Sochan's mid. So basically everyone on the team is mid except for Fox, Wemby, basically. And you don't even like Devin Vassell, but I guarantee you that they think about Devin Vassell. They don't want him open. Exactly. Would players be trying to literally fight him for being mid? I don't think so. Yeah, people never talk about the psychological game of the game. Psychological side of the game either. Wemby, Fox, Vassell. Wow. And then everyone else is just mid. That's a crazy statement. I disagree. I 100% disagree. You guys know I'm not even the biggest fan of Keldon on the team because I just don't think he fits that well. But I wouldn't say as a player, Keldon's like just average, right? I think he's pretty talented player. Yeah, I don't know. That's wild. Offensively, I feel like they be a little worried about Castle. Defensively, I'm sure they'd definitely look out for Sochan. Yeah. It's silly. That's a silly argument. That's a silly argument. I guarantee you have never seen the sheet in which we see who they're looking out for. Funny enough, we have, though. I remember I was taking a look at that. You guys remember that? I think we were going against the Dallas Mavericks, and the sheet got leaked as far as the scouting report got leaked. And, yeah, everybody was on there. I think that was Wemby's rookie year. Sochan and Castle should not share the court together. Okay. Keldon, Sochan, Castle, same category. That's horrible. That is a horrible analysis if I've ever seen one. Keldon is horrible defensively. I would say the only thing that he's above average at and really good at is the ball in his hands going downhill, right? That's about it. Everything else, not really. Like, he's like shooting wise, 3-point shooting wise, he's mid, inconsistent with that. Anything else on the offensive end, just okay. Defensively, he's really poor. Sochan's elite defensively. As a role player offensively, pretty good. Castle, pretty good offensively, pretty decent. Okay, he needs some shooting. He needs to be a better shooter. He's a really great defender. So, yes, Sochan and Castle are definitely in a league above Keldon. But yeah. Oh, it was Mavs scouting report. That's what I thought. Anyways, I spent way too much. I love you, Tavarius. All right, I spent way too much time on your comment. But there are people that think like you. So I don't know. I'll just keep my propaganda going. I'll keep showing you evidence of how good Sochan is. I don't know how you can see this and just be like, this and this not that great. I don't see how you can do that. But, you know, if you want your cognitive dissonance going, I guess keep it up.